Merhaba. Şimdi bu videoda Türkçe, İngilizce dil konuşuyoruz. Yani languages, right? So you already know this subject. We know Türkçe, İngilizce, so like basically we know the meaning of these words. And you probably figured so far that the suffix "ceca" is language making suffix. So it's attached to ethnicity words like Türk, and Türkçe is Turkish. İngiliz, İngilizce, English. İspanyol, İspanyolca, Spanish. Arap, Arapça, Arabic. So, good. I mean, it's pretty cool. There's a suffix for languages. It's going to be very useful when I talk about the ethnicity words. And so that you can make a difference between these two, differentiate them. So J suffix can be J-ja according to vowel harmony, and again, like if it ends with a hard consonant like Türk, J becomes Çe, Türkçe, Arap, Arapça, Rus, Rusça. So, you know, it's very straightforward. Languages have suffixes in Turkish. Still, sometimes you make mistakes where you use the ethnicity word, where we use the language word. I mean, language words are used for languages, full stop, okay? And they don't define people, they don't define anything else but languages. So this comes up when we make compound nouns for instance, Türk tarihi, history, Turkish history, İngiliz bayrağı, Fransız filmi, Arap müziği gibi. So you see, in these compounds, we use the ethnicity word. So these means Turkish, Arabic, English, right? We don't use the language word for these. So that's something that you should remember, definitely. I mean, the thing you need to remember is, you know, when you see the J suffix, it's language, and it's only used for language. The rest is, yeah, think about the rest. So, unless, of course, like in these compounds, you're talking about the Turkish class, Türkçe dersi, then you're talking about language, right? All right. So, a person is İngiliz, Fransız, Arap, but the language is İngilizce, Fransızca, Arapça, right? Okay. So there's this, you know, interesting detail here that we sometimes overlook. When we ask people nerelisin, we need to listen what they say. For instance, it's possible that a person can be an Arab but lives in France. It's also possible this person is Kurdish, living in Turkey. So, you know, I mean, it's, you know, we shouldn't assume that, you know, anybody from France, it should be French ethnically. Why, you know, just like that in Turkey, like not everybody's Turkish. So you need to listen to people. If they say so, then it means that it's important for them. And also when you define yourself too, I call myself Turkish American, so it's Türk Amerikalıyım. You know, I mean, you know, you can also use this form to define yourself in Turkish. For instance, a person might say Kürdüm ve Türkiyeliyim. So I'm Kurdish, but I'm from Turkey, right? Arabım, Fransızlıyım. You know, I am an Arab, but I'm from France. So because le suffix doesn't have the ethnicity meaning to it. And its perfect example is the American. How do we say American? Amerikalı. It doesn't have any ethnic meaning into it. It just means that this person is from United States. I mean, basically, there are lots of ethnicities in in the United States, so it makes sense. And also the way the country is formed, of course, it's not a nation state, so Americalı, right? So you may choose to say, you're from New York, New Yorkluyum, I'm from New York, İstanbulluyum, whatever important for you, that's how you define yourself. So we need to listen people, how they define themselves, right? All right, so a few more things about languages, dil, right? So it's interesting, in almost all languages, mother tongue is the mother's tongue, mother's language. In Turkish also, ana dili. Ana is an archaic term for anne. Ana dili, it's the native language. This is this is the language you're born into, and that's why it's called mother tongue. So native language in English also. And for some people, the lucky ones, they grow up with 2 languages or more. And these people are bilingual. In English, they're called bilingual. And in Turkish, we can say çift dilli. Çift means dual or pair, 2. Çift dilli or iki dilli, double, or 2 languages, which has, this person has 2 languages. What you're doing right now is learning a foreign language. And that is yabancı dil in Turkish. Yabancı means foreign, exactly. Foreign, yabancı dil. And sometimes people define the foreign languages they learn, if it's more than, 1, 2, 3, you can, count them. İkinci dil. İkinci dil is second language. Üçüncü dil, the third language. And, because, sometimes it's important to define these. You basically say that ikinci dilim bu, üçüncü dilim bu. Probably you're stronger in the second language, right? That's why ikinci dil. Then there is konuşma dili. You see, we have konuşma every week. They are the dialogues or monologues. It's the spoken language. It's the way of introducing you to the colloquialisms and street languages and phrases and whatnot. That's why they are called konuşma. So konuşma dili is the spoken language. It's almost always different than the written language. Written language is yazı dili, right? So yazı dili. In Turkish, the script is the same, but almost all other languages in Asian Middle East studies are written in different script, right? So then there's one very important, there are lots of languages that we could talk about, but I'm not going to take more time, except I want to mention vücut dili, the body language. It's very important when you're learning another language. Each culture has, each region, not only, when I say culture, I don't necessarily mean the country. It can be the city, it can be the neighborhood of a city. It really depends. But body language is something that you should be aware of as well. So we try to teach you as much as we can when you're learning Turkish, because it's important. That's why it's also important to watch TV shows, films, and listen songs, so you get used to it. Songs with the videos. So for a good example for this, remember when we were learning evet hayır in Turkish? So how do you say evet, yes, in English? Yes, it's just like that in Turkish, evet. But hayır is a little different in Turkish. In English, no, you say no, right? In Turkish, when you say hayır, no, hayır. And sometimes you even hear, right? No, right? And so, so this is like a good example of a body language that changes from one language to another, one culture to another. So it's fun. It's fun to learn these things, and if you come up with anything like you see in the TV shows you're watching, bring it to class. It will be fun to discuss, okay? But before, do your worksheet and study and come to class like that. Tamam. Kolay gelsin. Görüşürüz.